Hey everybody, welcome back to another Thingamajigger Thursday here at Two-Saggers, where we go over unique and uncommon tools. Today we've got a really jam-packed episode. We'll do our tool giveaway at the end of the episode. We're going to go over these tools from last week, these mystery tools, and I researched those other tools that I had questions about. And then I'll give you a couple sneak peek tools for something to ponder on over the next week. Let's get after it. Number one here, this one was guessed. It's a tile circle cutter or boring cutter. And I was having a hard time figuring out how this would be used, but I finally figured it out this morning. It's actually meant to be used in conjunction with a normal, a big tile cutter, right? So you would just take this thing apart here, take your end clamp off, you get that guy wedged in between there, you put your clamp back on, and then that clamp holds it in the tile cutter, your big tile cutter, and then you just set up your tile where you want it, you release the spring pressure. When you release that spring pressure, it pushes down onto the tile, then you just rotate it. So a pretty unique design. Next up was number two, and Raw Bacon had this one dead on. This is just for tightening chain, like a bicycle chain or a dirt bike chain or any kind of chain like that. You tighten the ends of the chain together by adjusting your knob down. It squeezes the chain together so you can get your master link installed and put the chain back together. So nice work on that. Now this one here, I kind of had a feeling, I guess I didn't show a close-up of it. If you pull this screw out, it's just a rubber plug in there. That thing is just a piece of rubber. Now, this doesn't have a brand name on it or a patent number. It just says patent pending. The closest I could find is a Lisle brand. So I'm assuming that's what this is. They look identical, but it's a 90-degree grease gun fitting. Adapter, if you will. So you would just slide this part here over your Zerk fitting, and the grease gun would pump grease through there and then out that little rubber fitting in there. Number four, this is a K&M or Kent Moore brand, and it's I don't really understand it. I couldn't find any information on how to use it, but it's labeled under Kent Moore as a gasket scraper aluminum surface. So I think it was specifically made for probably GM when they first started coming out with their aluminum heads and aluminum blocks. And you would use one of these tools. I don't know if it's just specially made forged steel or something. I don't know. I don't know why you would need this. I've never needed anything like this to scrape gasket material, but that's what it's labeled as. If anybody has, this goes for everything. If anybody has more information on how this stuff works, what its intended use, that kind of stuff, please feel free to chime in. I just find this stuff and I look it up and figure out what it's for. Some of it I've used before, some of it I have not. All right, moving on. Number four, if this thing would focus, Flexco brand or Flexco wrench. And it is just a specialty socket. It's made for conveyor belts, rubberized conveyor belts. They have this, they almost look like chain links, but you put these links through the two ends of the mating surfaces. And I'll throw some photos up here. And then they have a proprietary bolt and nut design that requires this type of socket. And that's all it's for. Number six, this is a KD Tools window trim removal tool. I've shown other tools similar to this. You would just slide this up along the trim on your windshield and then bend it. Once you hit the clip, you just pry it off and it pops the clips loose. Number seven, I can't believe I didn't recognize what this was as soon as I saw it when I showed it last week. This is simply an extension for a bench grinder. Okay, you would mount this on a motor shaft, and then you can bolt or clamp on your buffer wheels or grinder wheels, whatever, anything along those lines for a bench grinder. We'll get to that one in a sec. We'll do that one last. Number nine, this one here. This is a Churn, C-H-E-R-N-E, I believe. Rubber test ball is what it's called. It actually says inflate to 40 psi. It's really hard to make out anything on the bottom there. But it's meant for inflating in a pipe. It's a pipe test plug is what it is. They're meant for, you get different sizes of these for putting pressure or plugging, like PVC pipe or any kind of pipe different sizes. So like this one might be for inch to inch and a half diameter, inside diameter pipe or outside diameter, I don't know. Anyway, you insert this in there, pump it up, it would plug off the pipe, and then you could pressurize the pipe to pressure test it. Number 10, we did have a couple correct answers on this. It is a beam clamp of sorts, but it's actually much older than that. It's for hanging iron pipe, big, like 3-inch iron pipes from I-beams and such. I don't have the extra piece that goes on here, but a bolt fastens through here and then has this big loop, and I'll throw a picture up so you can see what it looks like. All right, now on to this bugger. There is nothing written on this. A couple folks had mentioned the perfect handle screwdriver. Maybe it got converted from that, and I'm leaning towards that. Now, I do have a couple examples of what is meant by the perfect handle screwdriver. They're just really, really awesome. I actually don't use these because I don't want to mess them up, although that's what they're made to do. Older, and most of these, if they're labeled, it's like way down here. Like this one is an Irwin, and I've looked up hundreds of photos of these, and you can see how there's a similarity. Except this one here, if that was the handle, that's the smallest dang hand. I've got a little bit bigger hands than maybe usual, but still, like, the handle itself wouldn't even cover barely half of my hand. So I don't know if that's what it's for. Maybe it was. Like even this smaller guy, this is probably a 8.5 inch in length here, and that handle fits nicely. What in the world would have that short of a handle? It was definitely ground down. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was some sort of perfect handle screwdriver and somebody just lopped off the end and made a punch out of it. So that'll be the best guess. That'll go, I'll just set this in the stumper pile for now. All right, moving on to these other tools. This one, no name brand at all. There is something right over here that looks like a WZ or 2W or 2M or 21 or 12, or I don't know, something like that. I was right last week calling this a valve lifter, valve spring lifter for older school flathead engines. This one here, obviously it's a snap-on. I mentioned that last week. T-handle, half-inch drive T-handle. Actually, that looks bigger than half-inch. Yeah, it's a 5/8 drive. I did an episode, I think last year, maybe 18 months ago, about vintage, 100-year-old snap-on tools, and they usually have some sort of, in case you didn't see it, it is a snap-on. They usually, back then, they had at least up through the 30s, 40s, some sort of identifying mark for the year that the tool was produced. Like a clover or a star or a diamond or a circle or whatever. There was some sort of symbol there identifying the year that it was made, and I can't make out anything. There's too many hammer marks on there. I'm assuming this is the original T-handle as well. It looks like there was a ball detent in over here. Just really cool. So I'll be hanging on to that bugger. The Oxweld wrench. This one is actually Raw Bacon did get this one dead on. This is a welder, oxyacetylene or welder's wrench. It's got a 9/16, 11/16, and 7/8 open ends on it. Used for couplers and fittings on most oxyacetylene hoses. A lot of air fittings, that kind of stuff as well. So very cool there. This one was probably made in the 40s or 50s, I believe, ballpark. Maybe a little bit earlier. Then we'll do this one. This is a Electra Voice Core or Company multi-tool. The patent for this was in, I believe, 1946, so this probably was made in the 50s, would be my best guess. Pretty cool little dude. It's got a glass cutter here. These wheels in the middle are for sharpening blades. This open end is an alligator-style wrench. Then you've got a small ruler, bottle opener, small file, if you could call it that, a wire stripper, a tack or nail puller, pry bar, and screwdriver. So pretty nifty looking little dude here. And then finally, of all the mystery tools, was this pair of pliers. And I didn't want to do this, but I went ahead and hit it with a wire wheel a little bit, and it shows up as button pliers. B-U-T-T-O-N pliers. And I was able to find a couple images on eBay and WorthPoint folks selling some of these, the handles weren't quite flared out like this. A lot of them were more flared inward. But a little bit deeper research, and a guy named, or not a guy, well, yeah, a guy, L.M. King, patented a plier almost identical to this back in, I think it was 1867. And later on, for whatever reason, at least according to Alloy Artifacts, everybody started calling them button pliers. But they're actually just wire cutters and pliers. That's all they are. They're just like a lineman plier. That's all they are. But for some reason, the word button pliers, or the nickname, kind of like channel locks, kind of stuck to it. So that's actually what they started doing. They actually labeled them button pliers. Really cool. These ones, it's hard to date them. I don't want to strip everything else off and go through all of that, but I would guess early 1900s to maybe up to 1930-ish. That's just my best guess. There's still a little bit of the cross hatching in the jaws. They look pretty good. So these are nice. I'm gonna hang on to these. These are very cool. So real quick, just to give you all something to ponder over for the next week, we'll do a quick mystery tool. Here's the first one. It looks like a hinge down here, and it is similar, but it's not. So if you got any ideas on what this one is, everybody knows the drill by now. For the newcomers here, you just throw your guesses down in the comments. This will be our next one. I swear I've either seen or done one of these before. I remember seeing it somewhat recently. Maybe it was on that Facebook channel. I don't know. So there's number 2. And this will be number 3. These actually pop apart. So if you got any idea on any 3 of these, on what they are, feel free to go ahead and throw something down in the comments. We will cover those next week, and then I'll also do another bin of tools next week and kind of repeat the last 2-week process. Let's move over to the giveaway table. All right, so first up, I want to thank everybody for paying attention to the comments and picking things that haven't been picked already. That made this really easy today. We had 8 contestants, or eight entries. One guy picked twice, and only 2 people picked the same thing. That's the only one that we have to do a drawing for, and that is number 15, which I believe is the Stanley All. So we'll go ahead and flip a coin for that. I got the chip 1 and nothing on the back. So Wild Bill, he picked number 15, and Ronwook picked number 15. Wild Bill will be at number 1. Ronwook will be the blank side. I'm trying to get it to land on the table. All right, there it is. Ronwook gets it. All right, so I had to reposition the camera. I was just staring down, the camera was staring down. It was just kind of awkward. All right, so the way this is gonna work, today, after the video is posted, after about 5 p.m.-ish, I'm gonna congratulate everybody online, and you'll have 2 weeks to reply to me via email, and that email is 2sawacres@gmail.com, and I'll put that in your congratulatory comment, replying to your Enter Me comment, okay? So then you have to send me that email. I'll give you a verification code. You have to post that and reply to my comment to your comment, if that makes sense. That way I know it's you. That way random people can't just email me at, at 2 Saw Acres and say, hey, I'm Dave Lors and I won that. And I'm like, oh, okay, here you go, and I ship it off, right? You don't want that. So I know it's a little bit of back and forth, but it goes pretty easy. The folks that I've already sent stuff off to before, I already have your information. Don't worry about it. I know Raw Bacon, I think Dave Lors, maybe Curtis Scott. Who else was there? I've got some of your information, so you guys probably are good. I'll let you know in the comments if I do need you to reply. So you got 2 weeks, all right? Basically, that's the big thing. You got 2 weeks to get in touch with me. If you don't get in touch with me, I'm gonna just go ahead and put the stuff away and it's over. One other thing, we still got all this left. Now, because these 2 are so big, and that guy's garbage, those are out. But we still have these items right here. If anybody, so number 1, 4, 6, 8, 12, 11, and 16, that's still left. If anybody wants one of those that's already won, go ahead and when you email me, say, hey, I'd like this item and that item or whatever. I don't mind throwing 1 or 2 extra things in there. These are just taking up space, okay? So just kind of a free-for-all at this point for those that have won who are going to be emailing me anyway. And hey everybody, if you guys got any comments or more information on some of the tools that we've gone over, please feel free to share it with everybody. I do a lot of different things, but not everything, and a lot of times I get into something just long enough to complete a job, and then I move on to something else. So please feel free to share. Make sure you all hit the like and subscribe on the way out. Appreciate you watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.